Hi, friends. Happy Friday. I hope you're having a great day today. I've got some cool books to look at, and we're going to go over our calendar too. Let's start. This first book is called In the Middle of Fall. Ooh, look at the opening pages. In the Middle of Fall. In the middle of fall, when the leaves have already turned, and the sky is mostly gray, and the air is chilly, like today. And the squirrels are frisky. And the gardens are brown. And the pumpkins are ready. And the apples are like ornaments. Yeah, they're just perfect right now. It takes just one big gust of wind, and all at once, let's find out what happens. Everything is yellow and red and orange. All over, all around. Right in the middle of fall. But remember it because soon, okay, let's find out what happens. The yellow and red and orange will be gone. All the leaves have fallen there. And the sky will change again. And then soon, very soon, the sky will be white and empty. That's how it looks during winter. Ready to fill up with snow. The end. That was a great book, and it was called In the Middle of Fall. I wanted to go over our calendar today because we're at the very end of October. So let's look at that together. Here we go. Okay, so here's October right here, October 2020. And today is the 30th. It is Friday the 30th. And there's one more day left in our month, the 31st. And then when we get back on Monday, it'll be November. Okay. Well, we'll look at the calendar more on Monday. I've got one other book to look at with you all. It's called Cranberry Autumn. Okay, let's find out what happens. Ooh, look at this. It's a great opening page. Cranberry Autumn. The maple trees were turning yellow. A salt breeze came in from the sea. Summer had ended in Cranberryport, and soon the schools would open. School again, and we have no money for new school clothes, said Grandmother to Maggie. And you need a new winter coat, said Maggie. Grandmother thought about friends who needed extra money before winter set in. Maybe it was time for the whole town to have a big sale. Everyone has old things in their attics. Dolls or toys or furniture. Old things become scarce. They become antiques. With grandmother's help and spirit, the Cranberry Fort antique sale began to take form. Aunt Hester on the next farm had a set of blue dishes to sell. Seth from the general store found an ancient high chair. A breathless Mr. Whiskers, their neighbor, hauled all of his treasures for grandmother to see. A stuffed swordfish without a sword, a lobster claw lamp, his second best bathing suit, and a fruitcake left over from Christmas. Grandmother held her head. Mr. Whiskers, haven't you any sense at all? Get rid of that rubbish, she cried. Mr. Whiskers carried it all home in a cloud of gloom. Suffering codfish, couldn't he ever please grandmother? Grandmother and Maggie began to look through their attic. They searched through trunks and boxes, closets and drawers. Suddenly, grandmother uncovered something rare and special, a pair of painted china dolls wrapped in a silk shawl. Staffordshire dogs, cried grandmother, made in England over 100 years ago. A prize, Maggie. They carefully carried the dogs down to the kitchen to prepare for the sale. News of grandmother's sale spread to other towns, and large crowds were expected for the day. The antique sale opened, and Mr. Whiskers still hadn't found anything to sell. He stood at grandmother's table of antiques and sulked. No one needed him. And right here it says, "Welcome to the Cranberry Antique Sale." Here's the next page right there. That's everything for sale on grandmother's table. Mr. Grape, Mr. Whisker's mean neighbor, stopped by grandmother's table. He couldn't take his eyes from the beautiful Staffordshire dogs. $200, he read on the price tag. If he could get rid of grandmother, he could outwit that foolish Mr. Whisker, and those dogs would be his for a small price. He rubbed his hands. Oh, how he loved to trick Mr. Whiskers. Mr. Grape tugged on Mr. Whiskers' sleeve with a message that Grandma was wanted on the phone. "Oh dear," said grandmother, "Mr. Whiskers, will you please take care of my table?" "Me?" cried Mr. Whiskers. "Suffering codfish! What if someone wants to buy something?" "Price tags are on everything," mother called back to him. While Mr. Whiskers turned to sell a silver thimble, mean Mr. Grape crackled and removed the price tag on the dogs. "I'll take these," he said as he handed the dogs to Mr. Whiskers. "No price tag on them, but they were $20 this morning." "Suffering codfish," Mr. Whiskers bumbled about. "What to do? Trouble already. No price tag." Let's find out what happens. A lady in an orange coat pushed in. "Wait, $20? Why, I'll give you 200. 200, offered a man in a tweed jacket. A crowd began to gather. Up and up went the price. Mr. Whiskers wheeled from one bid to another in a baffled surprise. $600 at the end of the bid. Mr. Whiskers had sold grandmother's dogs for $600. Mr. Grape stooped down and disappeared into the crowd. Grandmother returned and heard Mr. Whiskers' news. "How wonderful! Why, you two are too smart for that mean Mr. Grape," said grandmother. "What would we do without you?" She clapped her hands. "I'm a hero," Mr. Whiskers announced to Maggie. "A hero." Later, at grandmother's house, they celebrated with dinner. Maggie would have new school clothes and grandmother a new coat. And we are going to share with friends, said Maggie. A new coat for you, grandmother announced to Mr. Whiskers. Me suffering codfish, never. This was my grandfather's. Mr. Whiskers shook his coat. A gold button fell off and two winged creatures flew out. Were those your grandmother's moths too? Grandmother asked. Mr. Whiskers hugged his coat tight around himself and stepped outside. You are a wonder, grandmother called out after him. Well, Mr. Whiskers couldn't help but agree. He smiled through his whiskers and headed home over the dunes to his little gray house by the sea. Just another day of triumph for the old sea captain. The end. That was great. Oh, I like the pictures back here. And this was the author right here. And you can see her Staffordshire dogs in the picture. How fun. That was a great book. It was called Cranberry Autumn. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see each other again on Monday. Bye, friends. See you later.